Hey everybody, welcome to Whiskey Wisdom. I'm your host Shaq.
I'm your host, Nahum.
If you're here, then connecting deeply with those around you is important to you, and it's important to us too.
In our usual interactions, a lot goes unsaid, but matters deeply. Here at Whiskey Wisdom, we'll say it first so you don't have to.
Then we'll show you how to start the conversation in a fun and light way to more deeply connect with those around us.
This week, we'll be talking about your phone and learning life on your own.
But before we start, as is tradition, let's get into our weeks. You can go ahead and start it off.
All right. Well, this week was uh, a little bit boring, to be honest with everyone. There wasn't too much going on, but there was two fun things that popped out throughout the week. And like I said, it's going to be boring, but y'all need to remember I haven't been working, so not much happens.
Yeah.
This week, however, my background check was getting completed so that I could actually start working. Um, for all the listeners, all our friends and family, your boy starts working this coming Monday.
Hey.
Thank the Lord. I will finally back to work and making some money and having
Facts.
this weight lifted off.
Secure the fucking bag.
That being said, I had to go through a background check. And I don't know why, like if I've done something that was looming over my head, like if they were gonna find some charge that didn't exist and just be like, no, we can't give you the job because your name is some name we don't recognize. It's not a traditionally American name. And clearly, you must be up to something. Um, so my my panic skyrocketed when I got an email saying, "Hey, we need something from you to complete your background check."
Oh.
And it was my W-2 form from the job I had back in Champaign when I went to U of I. I did not know where it was, couldn't find it initially, mostly because I've moved a couple times and because probably I'm a little bit less organized than I should. But I had my brother help me out and look at my parents' home. And thankfully, old Nahum put all my work documents in a little envelope that said work documents.
Clean.
I found the W-2 for 1 year, or for one half of my job there, that being the 2016. I don't think I ever got the 2017 because, like I said, old Nahum wasn't organized. So I probably left my job, didn't leave a forwarding address, and never got it. And
That's pretty fucking troll.
I mean, that's on me. I left in May. I never bothered to come back around January to get it. But I sent them the 2016 one. I told them, hey, this is what's up. What can we do? And I had to go through the trouble of moving around getting these documents. And by the time I sent them the 2016 one, they're like, hey, your employer finally got back to us. They confirmed you work for them. So don't even worry about it. We don't need any of your stuff anymore. So it was a little trolly. But then I got my report and everything was good. So again, your boy starts working. But it was very interesting to be having those thoughts in the back of my head, like what happens if I don't pass this background check? Like if I don't know everything that I've done in my life,
I mean,
or have no reason to fail this background check.
The paranoia is real.
Yeah. But that was the first thing. The second thing is, as you know, and some of our friends and family would know, I've been remodeling the apartment. So for the longest time, I have not had a gas stove to actually cook on. But we were able to repair the gas stove I have. And for the first time today, I was able to actually make a full meal.
Hey.
And eat at home.
Chef Nahum.
Just like, yeah. I was living off sandwiches and salads and
salads.
And food it was a whole salad, dude. It was a lot. I was buying the bags from like Sam's Club, and I'd go through them in like, 2 meals. So it was a lot. But I'm pretty thankful, finally able to start cooking again. I still feel like I gotta watch out a little bit for that stove. So
you're unsure that it's 100% safe yet?
Well,
No.
We
Okay.
fixed it. We fixed it. But you should always be aware. As was said on Friends, Nagi, always being aware. It's a state of mind. Um, so yeah, those were the two interesting things from the week. Other than that, I'm going to Six Flags Fright Fest tomorrow.
Okay.
Never been. I'm not particularly one to get scared, but I like the Halloween feel.
Hmm.
That being said, everyone I've told to about this says they're really not up for being scared. So they really got me panicking right now because it makes it seem like if it's going to be the most frightening thing they would ever
I mean,
experience.
yeah, I've never been there either. Uh, I've gone to Six Flags to ride rides and get scared that way. Not
Right.
necessarily have people dressed up yelling at me, but
Right. So we'll see. We'll see. The one that jumped out to me the most is a friend said I'm already pretty high strung, so I don't think I want to
rip.
go to Fright Fest. And it kind of stopped me. And I was like, what are they gonna do that that I need to think about this? But yeah, so that's the other interesting thing. And then Sunday I'm gonna be giving my first sermon at church, or my first
Oh shit.
message. So
Okay.
that'll be an interesting thing.
So like, is it a smaller church, like a medium-sized one, or like what's
It's
the
a
crowd like?
smaller church now. I think um it'll probably be, let's say, 30 people. It's probably the most that I would expect.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a smaller one. It's nothing much bigger than a crowd I've already spoken to. I guess it just carries a bit more weight in other ways. And I think I've mentioned it to you before. Listeners wouldn't know, but my father is the pastor, and the Sunday is somewhat of a holiday kind of thing, I guess, or like a thank you kind of day, called Pastor's Day. And so a big part of it is the fact that, um, kind of as a way of saying thank you, or kind of all that, is so that he wouldn't necessarily have to give the sermon. He can kind of listen and also be a student on this day. But it does carry a little bit more weight for me, at least, since technically I'm kind of like preaching to his, forget preaching in the choir. I'm kind of preaching to the pastor along with the
Mm.
rest of the congregation, and he's also my father.
Right. So it's a little bit of a pressure thing on there.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
feel you.
I've been preparing. I got like 3 pages of notes and my outlines and all that. So
Hey, bro, I believe in you. It
the
ain't nothing.
yeah, yeah. And Lord will be with me, so we'll see. We'll need it. Uh, but yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the week.
Oh, dope. Well, I wish you the most fun at Fright Fest tomorrow. That would be an experience for you, especially if it's your first time going there.
Yeah.
Um, so my week, uh, it was more of a week to prepare myself for next week, right?
Okay.
So as we know, I've been putting in the work to move out of my current city, best I can, right? 8 apps a day, every day, 56 a week. Staying strong with it, even finding jobs that aren't listed, and I'm getting more and more messages through LinkedIn from recruiters like, "Hey, I have this opportunity for you. When can we talk?" Um, Now there was this one recruiter, and it was a very troll kind of situation because he told me, "Hey, I got these two opportunities in New York City," and he sent me the two opportunities. I read through them. Okay, those look pretty nice. Hit them back. Hey, bro, I'm interested. Um, but by the way, I am still working in Illinois, but I am looking to relocate. I'll pay for my own moving expenses. I'll even fly myself out there for in-person interviews. You don't have to worry about anything. Let's just have this call, right? Ghosted me. Dude did not respond at all. What? It's so that stays happening with recruiters, man. Is as soon as you say, "Look, I'm not in the city," and they're like, "Well, why am I listening?" Um, it's wild. So you kind of
Hey man,
gotta.
At least it wasn't they ghosted you on an actual interview this time.
Right, right. This time, where like I did schedule it and they just didn't show up to the interview. I'm not even gonna re-dig back into that. But so I do have two tier 2 interviews next week.
Okay.
Right. One's for BuzzFeed. It's my second interview for BuzzFeed.
Okay.
Right. So they finally hit me back about that. That'll be dope. And for IAS, Indoor Ad Science, which was my second pick, I have my tier 2 interview with them on Monday. So I plan to be sick on Monday from work, and I'm just going to stay home. But I'm going to spend this weekend studying, right? So I haven't, I haven't been to class in years. So I'm picking up these online classes to kind of refresh my memory about things so that when I do interview with this dude on Monday, so I did do a little bit of research on him. Dude's been a administrator for the past 20 years, so there's no bullshitting him. I need to be on the top of my game. But
hey, when do you plan on releasing these? Because I guess their background checks would probably be done. I'm just saying, you putting people on blast right now.
I mean, look,
you putting them on the tier already, saying which one's 1, 2. Like,
oh no, tier 2 as in like.
No, the interview. I'm talking about what's your number 1 pick, your number 2 pick.
Maybe I should shut the fuck up about that until.
We can blurb those out.
Right. We can, in like post edit, add a little on like the name. Nah, I'm gonna leave the name. I'm gonna add a little on like the ranking. And yeah, this week has been more of like a setup for next week. So I'm expecting to make it to the tier 3, which is going to be the in-person ones. Now, here's something that I didn't really consider. Okay, is that I'm promising all these people that I'll fly out for these in-person interviews. Right. Now, my funds to do so for X amount of companies, because I don't know how many companies it's going to take before I do actually land it. Right.
Okay.
So let's say in theory, okay, I fly out for 4 in-person interviews that are on different sort of blocks of days, right? That's $800 or so, versus me assuming that if I do get the in-person, then I get the job, which would be like a, $200, $250 sort of cost, right?
Okay.
So I'm very optimistic with this telling them that I'll fly myself out thing, but really I don't have another option except for a video interview, but I feel like that's kind of impersonal. So,
yeah, I mean, you've gotten, and then we know people who it can work,
right?
But it'll definitely be a little bit harder, and some of the companies you're hoping to get into are maybe not necessarily.
I mean, I was told verbatim by the BuzzFeed recruiter, look, bro, we don't usually give this position to people out of state. We can just grab somebody in New York that's jobless as looking. So
it's kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you're also going, hey, by the way, can I also do this over?
Yeah.
Over Skype.
So I have to fly myself out there. So I'm planning to fly out, pending that the, things go well, which they will. Then I'll have to fly myself out probably the weekend after next.
Okay.
Because hopefully what I'm scheduling for is like the weekend of like the 26th, 27th. Now here's where conflicts start to happen, right? So the 26th, the weekend of that. So Halloween is that following Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. So most Halloween parties are going to happen before Halloween. Right?
Okay.
They're not going to happen after Halloween. That's pretty true. It's in the middle of the week. So most Halloween parties are going to happen before Halloween. So I have my Halloween costume picked out. All right. All right.
Okay.
So in theory, I could, fly out for that interview midweek. But I would lose so many work days. But if I scheduled it for a Friday, and then flew out on the Friday, kind of chilled on that Saturday, went out to some, I don't know, bars or some shit that had like some like costume sort of party things. I think that would be dope. Then fly back on that Sunday, I only use 1 work day, and I get the job done. So my alternative was to either come up to Chicago for Halloween parties, right? Mind you, yeah, grown people do have Halloween parties now.
I understand that. I'm just
This is a real thing. But also I planned to to volunteer for children
okay.
in my hometown for like trick or treating, and I've been working with my middle school and my elementary school for the past couple weeks.
Mhm.
That I've been driving up, and I've been a math tutor, science tutor, mentor kind of thing for groups of kids.
Really, Shaq? I've been trying to develop and actually successfully launch a tutoring program for about a year and a half now, and you just you just take talents elsewhere.
I mean, look, bruh,
Skype call over.
rip. Uh,
Although you are a bit south.
but yeah, but yeah. Um, so I've been helping out kids in my town where I've grown up. For the past for the past couple weekends.
Okay.
So I kind of want to go back up there in my Halloween costume and be like, hey, all that kind of shit. Um, but that was basically my week is a preparation for uh, next week being kind of uh, a critical couple of days
Mm.
for me ultimately moving the hell out of where I currently am. Yeah, college.
Oh,
um.
I said Dodge.
Oh. Oh.
Let's get out of Dodge.
Yeah. Dodge.
But I guess I mean it is the college town, so
Right.
fair.
College. College. Um. But yeah, that's all I had. So we can start to trickle into our questions now.